are here to review the movie The Girl Who Believes in Miracles. We saw it last night with some of our family members, and so we're just gonna go ahead and this is gonna be an honest review. We are not like movie experts or anything like that, but we're just gonna give our little humble opinion that you can take however you want. There will be spoilers, I'll say that. The movie is about a little girl who believes in miracles. No, basically she she basically is like sitting in church. The pastor talks about like having faith the size of a mustard seed until she takes it literally, and then she basically starts talking to God, praying to God, asking him for like, you know, things that people would be like would require a lot of faith. And so she sees a dead bird, she prays, she said she sees God. She prayed for like a long time, and she said she saw God, and then the bird came back to life. People didn't really believe her. And then she runs into this bully who's like being mean to her brother. The bully had a dog or whatever, and his dog got hit by a car and died, and then she prays for the dog, and the dog comes back to life.
And then people start bringing her like different people with ailments and stuff. So that really last she prayed for her friend who
at that point, right? And then she dies, and then they take her back home, and then the brother prays for her to come back because he sees like a drawing that she did where she's coming back, and so she ends up coming back to life. And then she's like, I can't heal anybody anymore, but like everybody has faith and everybody can do that type thing. And that's kind of how the movie ends. So, between a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate it?
Like it on the scale of Hollywood, or on like the Christian scale?
Okay, we'll do both. We'll do
scales.
both.
Okay.
We'll do Christian movie scale first, and then Hollywood scale.
Probably a 5.
As a Christian movie? From the Christian movie scale?
Yeah, probably a 5.
Okay.
And then Hollywood probably like a
2.
3. I'll give it a 3.
It's being very generous.
I mean, I think it had the storyline of sharing Jesus and you know, believe in healing and stuff like that, and I think that obviously it's a good message. So I think that sometimes when you see bad movies, they really don't have a message sometimes. So.
That's true. They don't, at least they had a message.
Right. But it was, I think that, like, you know, when you think about Christian movies, you think of like low budget, the acting is not up to par and stuff like that. I think that like it was a lot of different scenes that were like, not a lot, but there were different scenes that just seemed like they spent more money here and less money here.
Yeah.
And yeah,
they didn't spend the money on the special effects.
right.
Because, and I don't want to be mean, but we have to be honest. Like, I feel like we have to be real about what we think. And like the special effects, no, like they were not, when the bird jumped up, like it was at that moment I knew like, okay, these special effects are gonna be a struggle. It was a struggle.
And then when Jesus was white,
that was a little sus. We were kind of like, and then like when we were driving home, me and Ari mentioned, she's like, why couldn't they make him like mixed race, or like, you know, she's like, just like a little bit darker, you know?
Yeah, or why did they even have to show a race? I feel like they should have just
not showing his face.
Bright light. Yeah, and just like a silhouette.
So
I feel like they should have just did that.
Right. And then I was like, well, maybe, you know, maybe I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, and maybe he looks like whatever she thinks he looks like, you know, because she just saw him in t-shirt and jeans, and my mom was like, but then they showed him with the beard.
Yeah.
I was like, true. They just shouldn't have shown him.
Yeah, at all.
Because that special effect, like those special effects were terrible too, with the light and stuff,
and the rain,
and like the cloud, like it was. They should just not have shown it.
The effects look like 1990s.
I think it is.
I just think that like if we have so much access to cool effects, even myself with like when you think about like the Adobe Creative Suite or what's that other one? Not Premiere Pro. It's the other video editing that people use or whatever. I just think about stuff like that and I'm like,
how come we didn't use?
Yeah.
I feel like if you can't perfectly like master special effects, just don't use them. Like don't show it. I think that there's other techniques that you could use rather than like trying to show that happening.
Right.
Like I feel like in the beginning where she was like, you don't see him, and like they didn't see him, like,
oh yeah,
like if they just kept it like that,
right?
You know what I mean?
Because there was nothing there. It was just like a wind blowing.
Yeah, you
over
could just
the
see the
water.
lake. Yeah, and they're like the brother and the girlfriend didn't see what she was seeing. Like I feel like they would have just kept it like that. It might have been fine.
Right.
But like, and then remember when like the tree fell, and it was like so CGI. Like I don't know. And then the rain.
Yeah, that was just the screen.
Like, yeah, you could tell it was like super CGI. Like you could tell. So, or like not, it was just an effect, like an overlay on the screen of like alleged rain falling, and it was just like white lines.
Yeah.
Like, I just think there's other ways to do it without having to use CGI. Is like you're not gonna put any money toward making CGI good, or find somebody who's like really good at doing CGI.
I agree.
When they showed the Jesus, the cloud like hovering over the lake with like lights. It looked like Land Before Time. Oh, not Land Before Time. Never Ending Story. Sorry, wrong movie. Never Ending Story.
No, but it just looked like the old effects look so old considering everything that we have access to now. It's like kind of weird when I see low budget films or no budget put into certain areas of movies, and it's not just Christian movies, it's like Hollywood movies too. It's just like yes, I was thinking that's exactly what I was thinking about. I've never seen the movie, but I've seen some clips and I'm like, oh my gosh,
I can't believe this passed through to the theaters.
Me neither.
Okay, so I went on a rant about how art is suffering.
Yeah. I mean, double take.
So with Christian movies, a lot of the time, I just kind of don't understand why, if you're gonna go all out to like full on make a movie, because I know there's a lot that goes into making a movie, but if you're gonna go all out and make a movie, like why wouldn't you hire somebody who's like really good at writing scripts? And it's not like you have to go and get somebody from Hollywood. There's a lot of like young aspiring writers who are probably really good, who would be willing.
Right.
And if you really are a Christian, you could pray and ask the Holy Spirit to reveal them to you.
Right.
Or to bring them into your life.
Yes.
But I just don't understand sometimes why Christians don't try a little bit harder to like make a good movie. And I was kind of confused because when I looked up the director, I don't know if it's the same guy or if he just has the same name, but on his Wikipedia page it has this movie listed. And it's the guy who was from like Leave It to Beaver, and he directed like all kinds of episodes from like That's a Raven and Hannah Montana and Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and like The Amanda Show and all that. And I don't really understand like why there wasn't the same level of quality here as there. And I understand you don't have Disney's budget, you know, you're not working with Nickelodeon's budget and stuff like that, but like, where was the creativity?
Right.
You know? And like, yes, there was a message, and I think that it was like, you know, a nice little uplifting message or whatever about faith and having faith in things. But like, when you try to push the message so hard that you don't really pour into any of the other aspects of making a movie, like the cinematography or the script or the actors or anything like that, like the art suffers. And like, I don't really think that the message is really gonna like penetrate anybody's heart because they're distracted by the fact that it's so corny. And maybe it will, and you know what, and I pray that it will. But I just feel like it's so like, it was just, and the thing is like, it's not just Christian movies that are doing this now. A lot of Hollywood movies are doing this now, where maybe like the cinematography is great because the budget's there, the CGI is great, but the script sucks, and the acting, because of the script, it suffers as a result, because they're trying to preach some liberal message. And I'm not trying to offend anybody, but like, they don't want to offend anybody, and so they don't actually put anything in the script that's like actually funny or that's like actually realistic to have a conversation about, because they're trying to preach some liberal message, and the art sucks. Like, I'm not getting your message if I'm looking at two characters having a conversation that's supposed to teach me something, and it's just so out of the blue and so unrealistic and has nothing to do to advance the plot,
right,
or like any sort of character development or anything like that. Like, the arts are suffering right now.
Or when you take like a character that's already developed over, I don't know, 10 years or even from comics, and then you're turning it into something else, and it's like, why are you changing the character? They look totally different. Like, I don't know, just make a new character that you want to make. I don't understand stuff like that. Like, a lot of the movies last year that came out, they were so bad.
And we were like so desperate to see new movies, so we watched them. No.
Like, no tea, no shade. I love Shia LaBeouf, okay? I freaking love him so, like, you guys don't even know how much I love Shia LaBeouf. Like,
What movie?
the latest one that he was in,
Oh, where he was like a robber or something?
no, he was like a vato.
Oh yeah, he wasn't a robber.
What's it
Sorry,
called?
that's the one I was thinking of. I can't remember what it's called.
What is it called? Anyways, I watched it, and again, Shia LaBeouf was in it, George Lopez was in it. I think that like some of the acting wasn't that great, not from them, but from like some of the other cast, and also like the storyline. It was just super like surface level stuff, and I think that there were certain parts that were like low budget, and I'm just like, I wish it would have like, I feel like a lot of movies that I seen last year, I wish the development was taken more seriously. I wish that they spent more time developing the characters instead of trying to rush through the movie and make a quick buck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because we're so desperate to watch these
so
movies.
desperate right now.
But like, yeah, I just think that there's not a lot of creativity that go on with these scripts and stuff like that. And like, even I talked to like my other friend that we watched this Korean show, and it's so creative, plot twist, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. Like, I love stuff like that. Like,
Right.
where are the writers here?
Right.
We could do that. Like,
But you guys don't want to freaking offend anybody.
Walking
You don't
on
wanna-
eggshells.
And you want to preach a message. You don't want to talk about anything real. Like, you just want to preach some fantasy message that you have. And it's like, come on, like, make something realistic. Like, you just reminded me, I watched a Chinese rom-com. And literally the whole way through the show, like at some point I was crying almost every episode because I related to the characters. Like I was like, this is like something that I can relate to. Whereas now a lot of things I'm like, I can't relate in the slightest.
Right.
I
Right.
would never say that. I would never make that decision. I would never be in that situation. Like nothing about this relates to me. And sorry that we strayed so far from the movie.
no,
but
yeah. But why are we incorporating politics in
Everything.
movies? I don't like that.
In
Like,
art.
whether we agree, disagree, I don't care. I don't give a flying.
But make a good movie.
Yes.
Like have a good plot, have good character
Right.
development, have
Yes.
good effects if you're gonna use effects, have a good script. Like
Make the
basic-
joke if you're gonna offend me.
Right.
Like,
I don't offend me.
I'll have it land. Like,
Seriously, just the basics. Just like the basics of like good movie making, good art. Like it's just so ridiculous. Like it's unfortunate that it seems like I just have to keep going back to the classics because
yes.
they're good. They didn't care about that kind of thing. They just want
They
to
didn't
make
cry
good
over
art,
everything.
every single thing. Trying to cancel everybody for every single little thing, rather than just make a movie and say
Right.
what you want to say.
Right.
I don't know.
I think that people really can't tell the difference anymore of reality and fantasy and fiction and nonfiction because social media is their reality. So whenever they're seeing a movie, they're like, no, this is real. This is what they meant to say and all of this stuff. And they're really trying to offend me. It's like, it's a freaking movie made for entertainment. Like, I honestly don't understand that part, but whatever, that's neither here nor there. Just put some good stuff in the movies and maybe I'd be more proud of America at this point in time in the arts.
Yeah, when it comes to the arts, because the arts are suffering terribly. And then when it comes to Christian arts, like, come on. I feel like this, I'm not trying to be like messed up, but I feel like this movie kind of took like 10 steps back when it comes to Christian art. And I don't know if the first take caught it or not, but I don't mean to like compare them, but I just feel like after the series The Chosen, there's no excuse for Christian art anymore when it comes to like cinematography, when it comes to scripts, when it comes to acting, because that series has it all and it's crowdfunded. So you can't, I just feel like there's no excuses anymore.
And the jokes are funny.
The jokes are hilarious.
Right. Like, I feel like they don't put like all kinds of jokes because they're not trying to be like super hilarious, but when the joke does come by, it's funny.
It is.
It's not like,
Yes.
it didn't land.
They have conversations that you can relate to. And even though they're basing it off of the New Testament or the Gospels, like, it's just like, it's relatable. The characters are well developed. The way that they're showing everything is just really well developed. It's shot well. Like, everything about it, nothing about it feels fake. When I'm watching it, it's like I'm there.
Right.
When I was watching this movie last night, I was like I was watching a stage play or something. You know what I mean? So, and there are some good pieces of Christian art, like we talked about. Case for Christ is
Yeah,
like
it's
a
a really good one.
really good Christian movie. But like a lot of Christian art is like, I don't know. You just gotta try harder.
Like I
to,
just
like,
wouldn't recommend a friend that I meet that's not really saved but they're interested in knowing about God. I wouldn't recommend that movie. I would probably direct them to The Chosen or The Case for Christ or books.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. So sorry we strayed so far from the movie and talked about a bunch of other things. But I just like am tired of not seeing good art,
Right.
you know?
No, I totally
and at least not good art that's clean. Because that's
Right.
another thing too. Like I don't really like watching rated R movies. I don't really like watching things with a whole lot of cussing, a whole lot of violence, a whole lot of sex and nudity. Like I don't like watching those kind of things. I like for it to be clean, but it's like it just seems like I don't know, man.
Yeah, action movies are more my style, and even like
Even those ones are becoming so like preachy. Anyway.
we can't win. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. We love you.
Yes, we love
and
you.
comment on the.
What do you think about the state of the arts right now when it comes to movies and filmmaking, cinematography, those type of things? And we're no experts,
Right.
but like I know a low budget movie when I see one.
Right, exactly. I know a low budget script when I hear one.
Yeah, I know a bad script when I'm watching it.
But yeah, let us know what you think. Thoughts, concerns, opinions, all that good stuff.
Fight with me. I won't fight back, but fight with me if you want to. But please don't thumbs down the video. That's mean. I'm just kidding. You can thumbs it down if you want to.
If that's how you feel.
If that's how you really feel.
But anyways, after this, unsubscribe.
Oh, right. They're problematic. Unsubscribe. Bye. Okay. Love you guys. Please subscribe.